different proposals for us to consider. It looks like Copilot has given us these 3 venues as its proposed options. First is Westergasfabrik. That is purpose-built for automotive demos, so that's pretty exciting. We have the RAI in Amsterdam, and we also have the Compagnie Theater in Amsterdam. So looks like it's giving me some assessment here based on each of them. Good. Nice. And it has checked this against our equipment requirements, looking at floor load capacity and other factors that were referenced from the equipment Excel spreadsheet. So this is really useful. I think we should move forward with these 3. So let me ask Copilot, draft an email, draft an email reply confirming these 3 venues as our next course of action to consider. And look, it's even addressed it to Jordan. Hi, Jordan. Thanks again for compiling the venue options. After reviewing these, we're aligned on the following 3 venues as our top candidates for further consideration. There they are, with a brief explanation as to why from an operational standpoint, which is really nice. Let's proceed with deeper feasibility checks and available inquiries. Best, Marcus. So I'm going to take this, and now I can very easily move back over to Outlook and reply to Jordan. Now, one thing to note, it is very useful to get Copilot's help drafting these types of replies, drafting emails, drafting Word documents. But remember that it is a Copilot, not an autopilot. Everything that Copilot writes and that you send after receiving that help, those are your words. So it is always vital to read everything that Copilot puts forward. Copilot is incredibly powerful in its capabilities, but it does make mistakes. So it's important to double check them. So inside of here, after thoroughly reading this email, Marcus is ready to get this sent off right back to Jordan. So now the discussion as to which venue is the right fit can proceed at full pace.
Marcus facilitates a strategic review meeting where each stakeholder provides their perspective on venue alignment with business objectives. Copilot captures real-time discussion, and the meeting recap organizes each team member's input for comprehensive analysis.
Marcus has recently concluded a meeting with Maya, Sophia, and Jordan about the 3 venues. Let's take a look at what insights we can extract. I'll open up Microsoft Teams, and I can see here that there is the meeting in question. I'll open it up nice and big, and I want to show you a feature that is powered by Copilot called Recap. Inside of here, I don't only have the recording of the meeting, but I get full notes taken by AI. I can even see a breakdown of who talked, how frequently, and when. I can see the topics of discussion, venue operational feasibility, event venues. I can see chapters related to this. Most importantly, I do get an AI summary, some notes that have been generated by Copilot and artificial intelligence. So inside of here, I can see venue selection. I can see each of the 3, the Westergasfabrik, the RAI, and the Compagnie Theater. I can open up each one, and I can see insights into these: brand alignment, sustainability credentials, setup complexity. This is useful stuff. I can copy this with a single press and paste them wherever I'd like, in an email to everyone afterwards or into a shared notebook. I can also, if I'd like, view the entire transcript and see what everyone said. But I think that we can get even more insights from Copilot, and I can do that by opening the Copilot panel. I can select Copilot here on the side, and now I can interview this meeting. I can ask it anything. Let's think of a couple of questions. What were Sophia's thoughts on the different venue options? Now it has to intelligently understand who Sophia is, and what Sophia had to share, and it was able to do that. Sophia highlighted the incredible atmosphere and brand alignment with Vestergasfabrik. She noted the limited parking for VIP clients, okay, but suggested coordinating off site parking or car service. She did she? Well, what if I want to check that? You'll see there is a citation here, and then I can see the exact quote and the timestamp as to when that occurred in the meeting. RAI Convention Center, she says it lacks the wow factor. I can see that. And her thoughts on Compagni Theater. Very good. I can ask another question. What insights did Maya provide that the group didn't think of? Maya emphasized the importance of strategic input from each team member, highlighting that the choice sends a message about Boulder's positioning in Europe. She stressed its importance. Okay, useful. Now I can ask Copilot in this mode a wide variety of questions, but I want it to create some more robust content. So to do that, I'll close the Copilot panel here, minimize Teams, and let's return back to our Microsoft 365 Copilot app. I'll open up the chat, and in here, I have the ability to reference that meeting. So I can hit this plus and then select Add Content, Meetings, and here is that same launch venue strategic review. Now from there, I can ask a prompt. Great, here's an example prompt. Summarize the strategic assessment for each venue option. Organize feedback by stakeholder. Maya's strategic perspective, Sophia's client's view, Jordan's marketing considerations. Create pro and con comparisons for all three. Let's see what we get. Wonderful. I have some rich information here. I can see this broken down by each person, Maya, Sophia, and Jordan. I can see their thoughts on each of these different locations. Strong alignment with Boulder's innovation and clean tech positioning, great. Viewed as operationally safe but lacking differentiation. Uh, let's see what Jordan had to say. Jordan did not like our AI convention center, generic and uninspiring, and feared it would dilute Boulder's innovative image. Okay. Now, all of this is useful, but I think there is even more analysis for us. So let's look down here at the pros and cons. This helps to keep it even easier. Copilot intelligently understood that a table would be a great way to showcase this information. I can see my pros and cons for each of these three different options. Very good. This is taking verbal insights that people just happen to share in a Teams meeting and organizing it into a data forward way that Marcus's operational brain loves to review these options in more detail. Then, when we take this knowledge and couple that with the documents in Microsoft 365 about the financial requirements. Okay, good to know. I also still have my email here from Jordan with all of the information that they provided. And of course, I have my equipment requirements Excel spreadsheet. Let's just give all of this to Copilot and generate a comprehensive report. To do this, I'm going to open the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, and let's actually start a fresh chat. Inside of here, I'm going to cite several things. So I can use the slash key on my keyboard to bring this up. The equipment requirements. I'll also look for some emails. There is the operational assessment email from Jordan. There is the venue budget approval. We'll add that in from Arjun. Then I can also cite meetings. So I'll put in the entire launch venue strategic review meeting that we had talking about all of these different options. Then I'll add in a prompt. I'll say generate a comprehensive venue analysis report for Amsterdam launch event, include an executive summary comparing all three venues, an operational assessment based on our equipment requirements, strategic considerations from our team's meeting discussion, financial analysis referencing Arjun's budget parameters, a risk assessment for each venue option, and then a final recommendation with rationale. Use all of this that I have given you in order to do it. This is a tall order. Let's see Copilot in action. And you can see all this information pouring in: strategy, finance analysis, risk assessment. All right, let's take a look at this. This is some really useful information. And again, this is all stuff that was sent to Marcus. Emails he received, a meeting that he was a part of, and that Excel spreadsheet, all used to create this report. I have an executive summary, brand fit, operational feasibility, and strategic impact. It looks like our Westergasfabrik is exceptional, high complexity but manageable, and the strategic impact is quite high. As I scroll down, I can see the operational assessment. We're going to need 142 hours of setup time according to that Excel spreadsheet. Heavy equipment, special requirements. It looks like we have several options that meet this, except for the Campagni Theater. It does not have vehicle access, so that's out. Strategic considerations. From that strategy meeting, it has strong alignment with Boulder's innovation narrative. It's been used by other big names in this space. While the RAI is a safe option, it lacks differentiation. Then we have a financial analysis. Here's our budget cap and approval tiers. Here's the estimated costs, and we can see that they'll all fit within our $70,000 budgeted amount. From a risk assessment, it looks like there is a manageable risk with our primary option. And so Copilot matches the same recommendations that we had from our team. It looks like, folks, we have our venue. The Westergasfabrik is going to be the right place for us to hold this launch event. This is some really useful insights in this strategic report. So there are a couple of different ways that I can save it in order to interact with it with my colleagues. One is that I can click this button here in the bottom left. This allows me to edit what this response shows in something called Microsoft 365 Pages. This is a unique collaborative canvas that's very live that allows me to add other team members to collaborate with. So I'll select Edit in Pages, and now you'll notice that it's opened this into a side column. And so I can delete some of this. From here, I see my executive summary and a properly formatted table, the operational assessment, strategic considerations, and much more. This is really great. I can delete some of Copilot's annotations there and keep this just a nice aligned document. From here, I can also add in other colleagues. So if I wanted to tag Jordan, I'll just put @Jordan, and then I can click this button to share that with them. And just like that, I can add even more people to this. Pages is a really powerful place where we can all work on it together, but my analysis doesn't have to just stay here. I could also convert this page that I've created very quickly into a Word document. By pressing this, it will then take what I've built and convert that and allow me to open it in Microsoft Word. Comprehensive venue analysis for Amsterdam launch event. And here I have those same insights brought together into a useful Word document that I can also send off to other people. Nice thing about using Copilot is that whenever I open a Word document, I also have the ability to get a summary of it. Now, of course, we've just built this, so I'm well aware of what's involved, but just to show you, I can click this and see venue comparison, operational feasibility. I can select insights here in order to generate suggested Q&A and some of the key numbers. Here's the cost estimate for this venue and the others, the budget cap, how many total setup time hours that are needed, and much more. What are the strategic differences between these two and Boulder's brand impact? Which venue poses the higher risk? Useful information, all of that brought to me right here at the top. I can choose what level of information I'd like with this as well. Standard, brief, or detailed responses. All of this right here in my Microsoft Word document.
Marcus uses Copilot in PowerPoint to produce a visual representation of his venue analysis. Copilot proposes a presentation outline, but Marcus refines, transforming the Word document into a clear, insightful presentation for stakeholder review.
Let's say that Marcus wants to take all of these learnings and use that to create a PowerPoint presentation. We can do this as well. I'm going to open up a fresh PowerPoint. I'll use a blank presentation here. And when I open it, it's going to ask me, do I want to create a presentation based on a file? I sure do. So I'm going to reference that file that I just created, comprehensive venue analysis, perfect. And then I think that's pretty much all that I'm going to do. I'm going to hit next, and Copilot will analyze that Word document that I just made based off of that page that I made based off of my chat with Copilot, all of it right here. And look, my PowerPoint presentation is now coming into view. An executive summary, operational assessment, strategic considerations, and financial analysis, and a final recommendation. That looks like a pretty nice PowerPoint to me. Let's generate some slides. Now I'm going to see a brief preview of these slides as Copilot parses through all this information. There they are, filtering in. Notice it's even giving section headers. And there we have it. Copilot has taken the steps to generate this document, this PowerPoint presentation for me. Let's take a look around. Look, it has put in here an image of Amsterdam. I like it, but I have a feature called Design Ideas in PowerPoint. Designer is now a part of Copilot, so I can see there are different options. I like this one. I think that will work nicely for us. It's created an agenda, executive summary, and a venue comparison. There is that same table, and I can choose multiple different formatting options for my table. Let's go with this one. It's nice and big. My operational assessment. Notice it's putting in different images that are somewhat related to these different items. This is a feature of PowerPoint, really quite nice. Now I'll keep it like that. Venue compatibility, a nice vague image showing this. Now I can, of course, come in here and add different images if I'd like. I have my strategic considerations, the finances, the estimated costs, inexplicably a picture of a Scantron test, but these can all be swapped out later. I have risk assessment table, the recommended venue, rationale for our recommendation, and finally, a conclusion. So now Marcus is ready to take this PowerPoint presentation, send that off to Maya and the team for review, firmly recommending the Westergasfabrik as the right solution.
Marcus concludes by communicating the final decision to all stakeholders. Referencing the comprehensive analysis document, Copilot helps him create a professional announcement that clearly explains the rationale and establishes next steps for implementation.
Now that we have our venue selected, all that's left to do is tell the team. Now, I want to draft an email to send out to everybody, and I'm going to use Copilot Chat in order to do this. So I'm going to open my Microsoft 365 Copilot app. because it has the context of all this great work that we've just done. So now I'm going to say draft an email to Maya, Jordan, Sophia, and Arjun announcing that we're selecting Westergasfabrik Amsterdam as our launch venue, reference key factors from our comprehensive analysis that drove this decision, all of these different items here, refer to an attached PowerPoint and Word document. Because we made both of those things, I intend to attach them. Let's see what Copilot makes for us. Okay, great. Wonderful. Please find attached the full venue analysis and supporting documentation. Here's the reasons we selected it. This is using the context of all of the work that we've already done, which is really nice. And it's even bolded the name of the venue. We love to see it. Going to select all of this. And now let's go ahead and respond to everyone here in Outlook. Looks like there is an email thread awaiting my action, so I'll go ahead and respond to them here. And I can paste in this information. One thing to note is that this is a Copilot, not an autopilot. Anything that Copilot writes for you, whether that's an email or a Word document, it is very important that you read all of it. Copilot is incredibly powerful, but it can make mistakes. So it is important for us to review it because what you send is your words at the end of the day. So it looks like this is a pretty good email. I have some of these things identified. I can add some additional formatting if I'd like, some bullet lists, for example. There we go. Please find attached the full venue analysis. So if I want to attach something here in the new Outlook, I can move right up here to the paperclip. There's the PowerPoint I've made. Let me actually move that a little bit. I'll put that down here. Both the PowerPoint and the comprehensive venue analysis. Very good. Let me know if you have any questions. Best regards, Marcus. Send. Check that task off of our list. And just like that, we're done. We've accomplished a lot in a very brief amount of time. We've referenced emails, meetings, and Excel spreadsheets to bring together a whole bunch of different ideas. We've created a page where we can collaboratively work, converted that into a Word document, and then transformed that into a PowerPoint presentation. And then used Copilot's help to synthesize all of this knowledge and then ultimately deliver the email that everyone has been waiting for. This is just some of the ways that Copilot can help operations professionals like Marcus.
Upon conclusion of the Copenhagen launch event, Marcus wants to review the performance of the vendors involved in the project. He uses Copilot's analyst agent to synthesize data and gather insights across the vendor pool to determine future contract opportunities.
Something isn't sitting right with Marcus. After the Amsterdam launch event, the logistics vendor, Euro Logistics, really dropped the ball, and he wants to check the vendor performance data to see if this is part of a larger issue. There's a wrinkle in this plan, though. The tool that Boulder uses has simply provided this CSV file. Oh my, look at all of this rich visual delight. Just raw data in a giant list across multiple different types of vendors, facilities, marketing, IT, security, manufacturing, and some logistics vendors. Now, Marcus could go into Excel, compare these, sort the columns, color code things, hand select data to turn it into a chart. But he doesn't have to do all of that because we have Copilot and AI in order to help us with this task. So I will minimize our CSV file here, and let's open the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. The first thing we're greeted with is the chat, and this is the best place for most inquiries. However, Marcus is going to use something called a Copilot agent. Now, agents are versions of Copilot that are specifically trained to do things. For example, already included with Microsoft 365 Copilot is your analyst agent, a researcher agent. You can also completely build your own new agents or add other agents that have already been created. So Marcus is going to use the analyst agent for this request. First thing I need to do is reference that raw data export from the vendor performance management system. So I could click this plus here and select add content, or I can hit the slash key on my keyboard and then start typing the name of the file. So I know it had the word raw in it. Very good, there it is. I'm going to use dictation to voice my prompt out loud. In a table, compare all of the vendors with the vendor type of logistics, showing their performance across the key data points. All right, I'm going to double check, make sure everything's accurate, looks good, and then hit submit. Now, Analyst is going to look through that CSV file and using both large language model logic as well as Python code, it's going to generate for us a response. I can see some Python code here, and I can also see Copilot letting me know what it's doing. I'm filtering the logistics vendors. I'm checking for unique vendor types, parsing the question details, filtering data, and preparing output, interpreting the task, preparing the table content, and more. And then, look what it's provided me. Here is a comparison of all vendors with the type logistics across key performance metrics. So I can see these are specifically the logistics vendors. And now I can see the contract value, how long in delivery time. So Euro Logistics here at the top is one I'm keeping my eye on. You can see that their quality score is the lowest. On time delivery is also not good. They do excel in the cost per unit, they are the cheapest, but goodness, would you look at that customer satisfaction 6.8 out of a possible 10. Their response time is slow, issue resolution takes long. So, this is all useful, but notice all of these different areas. Cost per unit is a measure of euros. Customer satisfaction is a 10-point scale. Response time is a quantity of hours. This is hard to compare all of this data at once. So, I'm going to follow up and ask, can you provide this table using normalized values for each of these logistics vendors? And after some time, Copilot has completed this request for me. One thing I do want to call out, take a look at this thought process. Copilot says, I'm planning to apply min-max normalization on numeric columns, range between 0 and 1. Some metrics will need to be higher, some will need to be lower. So this is really useful because whoever is the top of the pack there is going to have a solid 1. Whoever is the least performer is going to have a 0, and all the people in between will have a data-driven value. And this will be compared across all of the items in the table. Let's see if Copilot got it. I'll scroll here to the end. Great. Where 1 is best and 0 is worst for each metric, contract value, Euro Logistics coming in top of the pack. They are the cheapest. However, when we look at the quality score, yikes, 0. On time delivery, 0. Customer satisfaction, 0. SLA compliance. So, this is some interesting data that I've been presented here. I think that it would be helpful to have a visual comparison. And wouldn't you know, Copilot is asking me if that's what I would like. Would you like a visual comparison to better illustrate these differences? Yes, please. I would love a visual comparison. Your choice as to which would best represent the data. Let's see what Analyst gives us. And again, after some time, that is now complete. Take a look at this. Planning visualization generation. The plan is to create a radar chart. I've never used a radar chart, so let's see what that is. Using Python showing normalized performance metrics. It'll be saved as a PNG file. That sounds good to me. Here's the Python code to run it. Oh, wow. And here it says, here's a radar chart that visually compares the normalized performance metrics for each logistics vendor. You can see their colors are up here, and I have a pretty robust chart. Now, if I'm not so sure how to read this, look at this. Copilot has put it right down here, how to read it. Each axis is a performance metric. The further out a vendor's line is, the better they perform. This visual helps to identify strengths and weaknesses at a glance. So, I can see Eurologistics right here. The this kind of blue portion is just a small part of this, whereas Hammer and Sun Logistics in green is quite significant. Blitz Transport is also pretty good in this chart. Now, maybe that's not the chart that I would like. Maybe I can request this differently. I can turn that into a bar chart, line chart, whichever suits my needs. Now, I want to ask Analyst a somewhat nuanced question. Based on this data, which are the two lowest performing and the two highest performing logistics vendors? And do you have any feedback as to which ones should earn our business? Of course, Copilot is an AI, doesn't know these people individually, but it will give me an answer based on the data. I'll scroll through here to the bottom and find what its recommendations are. Based on the average normalized performance across all key metrics, here's how they rank. The top two performers, as we suspected, Hammer and Sun Logistics and Blitz Transport. Bottom two performers, also, as I suspected, Euro Logistics and Alpen Post Freight. Recommendation is that Blitz stands out with strong performance, on time delivery, cost efficiency, customer satisfaction. Hammer and Sun Logistics delivers quality, speed, SLA compliance, and customer satisfaction. All of this is great, has helped me understand a bit more about the data. Now, this is simply one example of how Analyst Agent here inside of Copilot can help add value. You can imagine whatever source of data this is, being able to have a Python expert who can parse through all of the information and surface up actionable insights is just one of the useful capabilities of agents in Copilot. Throughout Marcus's venue selection process, we have seen how Microsoft 365 Copilot transforms operational decision making from complex analysis to clear recommendations. From analyzing the equipment requirements in Excel and facilitating stakeholder discussions in Teams, to synthesizing comprehensive assessments using Copilot Chat and creating an executive presentation, Copilot helps Marcus deliver strategic operations support that enables business success. For operations professionals like Marcus, Copilot bridges the gap between operational complexity and executive decision making. Multiple data sources become unified insights while maintaining the analytical depth essential for sound operational planning. The final venue recommendation demonstrates how AI enhanced operations work drives confident business decisions. On your screen, you'll find resources specifically designed for operations teams looking to implement Copilot, including useful templates and frameworks. Thank you for exploring Marcus's operational journey with me today. I am excited to see how Copilot helps your operations teams deliver even greater strategic value across your organization.